Hey everybody, welcome back to Whistle Thicket. Tom here. The girls are asleep. It's Sunday. Rowan actually, she had her birthday last week and we had a little family party. But this weekend is when we celebrated it. She had a couple of her friends come over. They had a scavenger hunt to find baby doll stuff. Rowan's really into the dolls right now. Amy actually sewed homemade dolls with her sewing machine, and Amy's mom, Yaya, helped us, so thanks, Yaya. They're all sleeping, so that's great. In a couple of minutes, we'll have some crazy 10-year-old girls running around the farm. I want to give a tour of our homestead. We've had our channel for about 5 months now, and I should have given a tour a long time ago. I want to give some props to Hewitt Homestead, who gave me this idea. He gave a tour of his property down in Florida a while ago, so go ahead and check out the Hewitt Homestead if you haven't. I'm also going to point out any improvements that we have done since we moved in here. We have lived on our farm for 3.5 years, and we've done a lot of improvements. I think the important thing when you buy a homestead is do not look at what it currently is, but imagine what you can do to improve it as well. So whenever we were looking for homesteads, in our price range, it was hard for us to find a property that had a barn. It was hard for us to find a property that was fenced in completely. We did find one, and we have a nice little barn, but there were other things missing from our homestead that we added, and there's lots of other things we want to improve on. I want to have some quail eventually for quail eggs. I want to get my mushroom logs going. Amy wants to do another run-in shed for the horses. We want a she shed for Amy and Rowan for their arts and crafts and all of their sewing and their projects. So we are always going to be improving our homestead, but my advice is do not try to do it all at once. You will become overwhelmed. So I am going to give you a tour of the Whistle Thicket Homestead. This here is the start of our property. This gate, actually, we did not have this gate here when we moved in. The front pasture, which I'll show you in a little bit, was not fenced in either. We had that fencing put in. This rock right here was not here. I'm proud of this rock. I dragged this rock from the top of our very back pasture on the top of the hill. I dragged it down here with the old Pathfinder. Rest in peace, Pathfinder. So I'm proud of this little rock. So this is our entryway. This is the start of our property. And like I said, it's about 7:30 in the morning. And it's cold here. It's September 3rd, I think. And it is chilly already. It's been a cold summer, and seems like it's gonna be a cold fall. It's in the 50s right now, which is cold for September 3rd. And I checked the weather, and it's gonna be in the 40s next week in the mornings for the lows. So I don't know if a cold fall means a crazy winter, but we haven't had a crazy winter in a couple years. So I wouldn't mind some big snowstorms. So I'm walking up our front pasture here, or our driveway, and our front pasture is on the right. I'm gonna take you to our front pasture. I'm back at our front border of our property. These cypress trees I planted months ago, they're actually doing pretty good. It'll give us a little more privacy on the farm. We actually only have one neighbor, nice guy. He's only here part-time right now. The rest of our property is surrounded by woods. Our neighbors have 25 acres and then I think 50 acres on the other side. So that is something great about our homestead, is we don't have a lot of neighbors, which neighbors are great. but it's also nice to have some privacy. So this is our front pasture, and I think you can see our house in the background. We have about 20 acres or so. That's our neighbor's house back there. But a lot of our farm is woods. So we have about 5.5 acres of pasture, which is mainly for the horses. Everybody has something they're into that gets them into homesteading. Ours was horses, chickens, and gardening. And the horses, of course, are a big priority. That's what Amy does for her job now, is training horses. So a lot of our property is for the horses, which is great. So I gotta find other places to do some of the other things that are more important to me. So yeah, this is our front pasture. I think it's about 1.5 acres. This here is Little Red. It's the horse trailer Amy got a couple years ago. We actually painted this when I had a week off of work. And a good buddy of mine actually helped, so thanks Little Kenny. I know he helped me with this trailer. It's actually kind of pink. We painted it about, man, I don't know, 5 years ago. But the paint has faded and now it's a little pink. I am in our riding ring for the horses. And again, I'm not a horse person, I just married one. And of course, Rowan's into horses, so this is a riding ring for Amy and Rowan to work on their horse skills. This riding ring was not here, actually. This was one of the biggest things we had done on the homestead. And the cool thing about it is that it was on a part of our property that was not that usable. This was actually a hill. And we had a local guy, a friend of ours, he came and he built this riding ring for us in really only a couple days. It was pretty awesome. So the riding ring was on a hill. He took the top part of the hill and put it on the bottom part of the hill to flatten it out. So this is a decent sized riding ring. It's not like gigantic, but it's plenty big for our needs for now. The cool thing too is that this is not wood. These panels here are actually made out of rubber. They're old, I guess, conveyor belts from factories. So Amy's really good at finding stuff to use in a new way. So she found a guy over in Tennessee, about 1.5 hours from us, that just buys these old conveyor belts and sells them to people for other uses. So the cool thing is, this looks like it's wood, but it's actually rubber made out of old conveyor belts. So this is a big farm improvement that we had done about 1.5 years ago. So this is a great example of when you buy a homestead, don't just think about what's there, think about what you can add to it. So let's keep going on our tour. Gertie. I'm hanging out with the dogs right now. I'm by our little fire pit. This is an easy improvement that most people can do on their homestead, and it's free. These were just rocks we found on the property. So a long time ago, this farm was a tobacco farm, like a lot of farms in the mountains of western North Carolina. So the original owners, when they were farming this for tobacco, they would plow they would find rocks and just make piles on the side of the fields so that it was easier to plow next season, and every year they probably found a few more rocks and made the piles bigger and bigger. So we have a few of these rock piles in the back pasture, so I did not have to go look for these rocks. I just had to go pick them up, which is great. So something else I like about this little campfire is that when I'm chopping wood, which is nearby, if I get a weird piece of wood that's just kind of wonky or something like that, I just throw it over here in the fire pit, and I already got my firewood for my next campfire. So this is an easy project we did, but I love it because it's a great place to chill, especially in the fall on a Friday night or Saturday night. Just hang out, check out the stars, and relax. So let's keep going. A lot of people have seen my garden. I'm just gonna show it to you real quick. I have tons of garden videos, so we're just gonna do a quick walk by of the garden. Tons of garden videos, so if you want to learn more about my garden, there's lots out there to check out. I'm coming under our little carport pavilion. It's a great place to work when it's raining. Here's our tractor, John Deere lawnmower. It's not really a tractor, but having some problems with it lately, just changing tires, and the blade got bent, which was kind of my fault. Hit a big stump up top, but that's how it goes. I do have my pumpkin contest going. Just a quick preview. That's a little gross. I gotta wash that off. Here's my pumpkin. That's right. If you want to win the contest, you gotta have one bigger than this pumpkin, okay? So I do got some pumpkins growing. I may have a few bigger than this. This is just the one I'm gonna show you right now. But in a couple days, I'm gonna do a pumpkin update. So here's my garden. Ta-da! I've had awesome luck with it, and I guess skill, right? It's not just luck, a lot of it's skill. I've grown tons of things this year. It is looking a little overgrown, but I started my fall garden. In the next week or so, I'm gonna start doing a lot of cleaning up from my spring and summer garden. I have tons of pumpkins growing down there. I'm not gonna show them to you just yet because I don't want to spoil how big my pumpkins have gotten. That's right. I got a couple big pumpkins. I won't say giant, but I have a couple that I would classify as big. So let's go ahead and check out the goats and our pet pig. I'm at the goat pen, and I guess the pig pen for our mini pig, Stella. This here is a goat shelter that I made for my goats. Hey, buddy. This is Nero. He's one of our fainting goats. Hey, bud. Nero. Nero, the fainting goat. So this is our little shelter. In the wintertime, we keep our goats in the barn and our pig in the barn. I hope to build a mini goat barn in our goat pen. I don't know if I'll do it this winter. I'd like to do a cordwood goat barn is one of my plans. So this is their goat area. The cool thing is this, again, was not like this. We had this fenced in some of it ourselves. I need to split this in two for goat breeding purposes to keep Romeo, which Romeo is back there. You can see Romeo way in the back. So that's Romeo. I gotta keep him separated from Olga so that we only have our goats bred when we want. We haven't had any problems yet. We do have a baby goat I'm gonna show you. But they have about, I don't know, maybe a third of an acre, and then we actually put them in the front pasture, which I'm gonna do soon. But this was not usable space. This was wooded. I took down probably 20 trees, 20 big trees. You can see some of the stumps in the background. And it's a little marshy. There's a little spring on this side of the property. So the horses didn't really like it. So I was able to repurpose this area and make it more usable. In the very back, you can't really see much. It's pretty overgrown. This is a pasture in progress back there. It's where I get a lot of my firewood. And over time, I've taken down a lot of trees in that back half acre. And eventually, it might turn into more pasture. So yes, we do have an outhouse on the property, but it's no longer an outhouse. I actually bought this from some folks about an hour away or so. This used to be a functional outhouse at an onion farm in Georgia. And then I guess the people got out of onions, they retired, they came to North Carolina, but they took their outhouse with them. And I transformed this into a storage shed, basically, for gardening and other tools. It stores paint and other stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. I was able to keep this outhouse going in a new and interesting way. So I'm going to show you, sorry, that morning sun is really coming out. I am going to show you the man shed, the man shed, the man shed. There's my Prius in the background. Very happy that I bought that. Here's our old truck, Amy's truck, Lucy. This old Dodge Ram here. Here is the man shed. And I know it doesn't look like much. That door needs to be fixed, or I need to add a new door to it. Amy actually got this. She found it on Craigslist for a couple $100, and it got transported here, which was pretty cool. I think it's 12 by 16. It's my workshop, but it's turned into storage, and it's a big mess in there, so I'm hoping to add a little addition onto it for just storage, and then this will be my wood shop. And hopefully one of my first projects will be to put a new door on it. I already put a new roof on it. So that's the man shed. It doesn't look like much, but it will one day. Here is our first chicken coop that we had. We had this actually when we lived in an apartment. And we brought this coop with us, and if we have an injured chicken or a broody chicken, or if one of our roosters is being a little too aggressive, we put them in this chicken coop. So let's go ahead and let the chickens out, because it's about 8:30 and they've been squawking and singing. So the chickens are ready to go outside. We're about to pass this walnut tree. We have some great walnuts on our property. We have a really big one that I'm going to show you in a minute, hopefully, that we have our treehouse on for Rowan. So this here is our chicken coop that the last owners built, or actually 2 owners ago built, as far as I've been told. So let's let the chickens out. Of our peach trees. So a nice bonus to this homestead when we bought it is it came with some great fruit trees. We have 3 peach trees, though the third doesn't really produce that much. We have 2 great apple trees. We have a crab apple tree. We have a couple plum trees. We have some nice trees behind the barn that are mulberry trees. Lots of walnut trees, which we do harvest the walnut some. I just planted a fig tree and a pomegranate tree this spring. Next year, I am going to increase my fruit trees. So I am going to plant some fruit cocktail trees, which if you don't know what a fruit cocktail is, it's a tree that has different varieties grafted to it. It's great for small homesteads. So I am going to hopefully increase my fruit trees next year. We had tons and tons of peaches this year. We did not have a lot of success with our apple trees this year. This is one of our apple trees here. Mainly we had a really late frost towards the end of April. So the apple trees already had their blooms going. In years past, we've had tons of apples, but we didn't have a lot of apples this year. But let's keep seeing the rest of the homestead. Whoa, baby. I'm hanging out with our newest addition to the farm, Leo. We have a male fainting goat that was born about 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna put him down. He wants to go hang out with his mom, which is fine. So this here is our barn in the background. It's mainly for the horses, and in the wintertime we have our goats in there and our pig usually. We also have our water system is in there. So that is our little red barn. It's a great sized barn for us. It has 2 stalls, lots of room for Amy to store her horse equipment. Right now we're passing the round pen, and the round pen again is for horse training. It's where Roan has her horse lessons, where Amy works on her horses. We're about to go up the treehouse stairs. So I made this treehouse out of salvage wood from an old farmhouse that was down the road. So we have a video where I give a full tour of the treehouse, but this is Roan's treehouse. I made a nice big deck for her. It's in a giant walnut tree, which is a fun place to hang out. So this is the tree house, and again, if you want to see more of it, just check out our video about it. So we're going down the tree house stairs. We are gonna go meet the horses real quick. So I'm gonna climb this fence with the camera. Should be interesting. Can I do it? I think I can. Woo! So we are walking up to the dry lot for the horses. Again, I am not a horse person. I just married one. So she's the horse woman. I'm just the guy that hangs out with her, I guess, and loves her. Here is Prophet. He's a rescue horse. And here are our other 2 horses. That's Dakota and Izzy. This is our run-in shed and our hay hut, or our hay shed. This is where we store our hay for the winter time. And the nice thing about this area is this is a dry lot for the winter. The first year we were here, we got a lot of rain, a lot of mud. The horses really got these pastures super muddy. It wasn't their fault. But now we've converted this into a dry lot. It has pea gravel, so the horses stay here in the winter time, and they have hay. If it's nice weather, we put them in the front pasture, but they spend a lot of their winter time here, and it keeps our pastures nice and ready for the springtime. So this here is Dakota. He's a very cool pony, very unique guy. He's a Morgan, and he's a heritage breed. He's a sweetheart, and he's very inquisitive. So we are gonna keep going to the top of the pasture. Like I said, we have about 20 acres, and 6 acres or so is pasture, but then the rest is all woods. We do have some trails up in the woods. I'm not gonna go up there today, but the best time to enjoy the back acreage is in the fall and early spring. But right now everything's overgrown. It's fun to go back there, but the trails really grow up. We are hopefully going to improve those trails so the horses can use them more. They are really steep, and they are fun to hike, but they are some steep trails. From our house to the very top of our property is about a difference of 700 feet in elevation. So the house is at about 2,800 feet, and the top of our property is at a little under 3,500 feet. So we have a pretty big difference in elevation. So at the very top of our property from the house is about a mile of hiking. And of course, that trail goes in and out. It does a lot of weaving. But it is a pretty fun trail to go on, especially with the goats. So this is our back pasture for the horses. There is actually another treehouse back there. I built that treehouse in secret to propose to Amy. There used to be a lot more trees here, but we had those trees cleared out to increase our pasture. So there is another treehouse back there that I'll show you sometime. But we are basically at the top of our property. This again is about 6 acres or so, 5.5 acres. The back is the woods. So there is a gate that leads to the woods here. This goes into the back part of the homestead. A long time ago, I think they had cattle back here. There's still some fencing we find, but again, a lot of it's overgrown. It's turned back into trees and forests. We have some big trees on the property on the edges and a couple of the steep areas. This property was logged about 25 to 30 years ago, but they were not able to get some of these really big trees. So eventually I am going to show you these big old trees on our property. But again, this is our homestead tour. I'm gonna show you right here. So this is our homestead view. It's a great place to live. We really enjoy it. We have lots of privacy, and it's just a great place to raise rowan. Our friends are having fun. It's just an awesome place to be. We did a lot of searching to find a homestead that we could afford in our price range, but we found a great place for us. We really enjoy it. It came with some fencing, it had the barn, but we've added the front gate. The front pasture was not fenced in for some reason, and it's the flattest part of the property. So we had that fenced in. We built the riding ring. We expanded the round pen a little bit. I built the tree house, the goat house. We had the goat area fenced in, the garden fenced in. I planted the garden. We've done some improvements to the chicken coop. We've had the man shed brought in. I built a little deck to that. What else have we done? The outhouse we added. the run-in shed for the horses, the dry lot for the horses. Amy has a track system that she built that allows the horses to get more exercise. They have to go all the way around the back pasture in order to get to the grass. So that makes them exercise. So again, we've done lots of improvements, but we have lots of other improvements we plan on doing. We love making our homestead better and better every year, and eventually it's going to be exactly the way we want it for this property. Of course, there's things I wish we had. I wish we had a pond. It would be cool to raise my own fish, my own catfish for fishing and for eating, of course, and having friends over. I don't think we'll have a pond here, but you never know. So if I could put something on my wish list, it would be a pond, because that would be a great thing to have. So I hope you enjoyed this tour. I know this is a long video, but you know, some videos are long, some videos are short. That's just how it is. I just wanted to give you a tour of our homestead so you can see where we're at and where we're going in the future. So if you like our videos, please subscribe, comment. If you got any ideas for this property, I would love to hear them. Thanks for joining us if you're still listening, and we'll see you in the future.